Just 1 in 5 Indigenous high schoolers complete their HSC, and even less continue on to higher education. One non-government organisation, which began in Redfern, is addressing the statistics directly. The Australian Indigenous Mentoring Experience, also known as AIME, is now halfway through its 8th year.
The way AIME works, it's a structured mentoring program, working with volunteer university students as mentors and Indigenous high school students. It's very much like a youth-led movement, everything from its staff to its volunteers, and I think that the positivity and the two-way learning process, I reckon, is really rewarding, both for the university students that are predominantly non-Indigenous, learning about Indigenous Australia and what the students are, I guess, what life's like growing up. But also for the high school students involved, they're actually, while they're tagged as mentees, they're actually the teachers. So without knowing it, yeah, they're kind of educating the educated.
Yeah, well, I guess our core program would be the Year 9 and 10 program that we run, and that takes place here at UTS. It runs for 15 weeks for an hour a week. Whilst we run that Year 9 and 10 program, we also run like an AIME Learning Centre, which is a homework centre at Redfern, which is open to all of our kids. The mentors, for the most part, are non-Indigenous, so it also is like a two-way learning process where the mentors are learning about Aboriginal culture. They may not have met a 15-year-old Indigenous kid ever in their life.
I was 15 years old when I first got involved with AIME. I was like, at the beginning of my high school years, I wasn't really interested in like getting a HSC, or like I thought I was going to become like a plumber or something and get heaps of money. And then but AIME made me like realize there's more to life. I did the Unite session and they did hip hop, and that's when I first got interested in hip hop music, and I made my own hip hop track.
This is the land I was born and raised in a disc romance, a tribal craze, on the coast of sand, I feel the heat blaze, fingers intertwined, hearts feeling so amazed.
Nothing that we really do is that different. Like, you know, for instance, excuse me, we do like hip hop where essentially it's poetry, but like twisted into a cool thing. I think probably it's the edge, I guess, that we have. So, and that comes with things like, well, our mentors are young mostly. Like, I'm relatively young, and Ads, who runs it as well, having Indigenous program managers running it too, like 2 Aboriginal people running it, because they often don't have it, like majority of them wouldn't have an Aboriginal teacher in the school. All of our resources are written by 20-something-year-old people. Not so long ago we're in school, so we can remember what it's like.
JJ Cahill Memorial High School has 5 students participating in AIME this year. Aboriginal Programs Coordinator Brendan Lee says the program has certainly had an impact.
My experience with working with the staff and mentors at AIME, I know that there's a lot of passionate people involved there, and I think that's always a really good start. You know, if you've got people that can lead the way, I'm sure it's going to continue to build from there.
When I was growing up, I always knew that we were Aboriginal, but my family didn't really talk about it much. So for me, when I was at school, I always knew it, but I didn't I guess engage in the Aboriginal programs and stuff, purely because things that had happened with my family and that they didn't really want us to engage with that side of our background, which is really sad. And looking back, I think if I'd had an opportunity like AIME, which had helped to strengthen my identity and stuff, I don't think I would have made half the mistakes in my life that I have.
Because if it wasn't for AIME, I probably wouldn't have started my HSC. AIME's fun. Like other programs I'm running, you don't want to go because it's boring, and so probably the attendance wouldn't be as great. But AIME, you learn stuff and you enjoy it. So it's like a combination, it's a balance.
In the past 5 years, the number of Indigenous students in higher education has jumped by more than 40%. Despite the increase, Indigenous students still remain underrepresented at universities, and the AIME program is hoping to engage more schools and more students in the next academic year.
Blue future will shine forever in the rainy and the sunny and the stormy weather.